I've just opened Corel Photo Paint X6. However, rather than start a brand new document here from the Quick Start screen, I'm going to close this, navigate over to File, and come down to Search Content. Now this is the first time I've selected Search Content, and what it does is open the Connect Docker undock. So what I want to do is take this Docker and dock over to the right side. You can use it independently like this, of course. However, I'm going to drag over here, and you can see the grey frame fitting in the Docker area. If I come up a little bit, it creates a separate style of docking. However, move my mouse down, I can see that grey border, release my mouse, and automatically my Connect docks over here to the right hand side. The next thing I'm going to do is simply stretch this Docker out to around about 2/3 of my screen, and that gives me a good display area to see my results, and I can see all of my search folders over here on the left hand side. Well, this works exactly the same as the standalone Corel Connect. Simply type in a word at the top, for example flower, hit enter, and automatically it will go ahead and do a search based on the options you've got selected up the top here. Well, right now, as you can see, I've got folders, vectors, bitmaps, etc. And so that gives me an array of various images to look at. However, I don't have a great deal selected on the left hand side, simply photos from the Corel content DVD. If I were to select the entire DVD, and if you've got this installed to your hard drive, it will also appear, as well as inserting the DVD, of course, into your DVD drive. Let's search again now and watch the number of results. We'll see a lot more results occur this time. And as you can see, many, many more to look at there. Well, if I turn off vectors and I turn off folders, all I'm left with are bitmaps, which of course are digital images or photographs. I could quickly search through here for whatever it is I want, and then click and drag and pop it over on the left hand side once I've found something I'm looking for. Now another way to search is to manually go through the content. For example, if I come down here and I go to, as you can see, I've got photos there, and come down to transportation. If I double click on transportation, everything inside of that folder opens up under transportation. And actually I'm looking for an image that has some taxis in it similar to that, but it's not actually there. In fact, I have saved an image. Just to demonstrate for you, we can go to alternate locations on our computer. For example, My Pictures. So in My Pictures, I've saved the image I want to work with. When I hover my mouse, I can see a large preview of that image. Simply click and drag, and automatically a document is created with that image. Well, I can maximize that up, and I can shrink my Docker back over to the other side, and now I can start to go to work on this image. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is resample this image. If I come up to Image on the menu bar and come down to Resample, you'll notice here under Resolution it's 300 by 300 dpi. Well, that's great for professional print, but our project is a design for the web, so we want to change this to 72 dpi. Before I do though, let me just talk you through quickly image size. When dealing with the web, rather than think in millimeters or inches, it's best to usually think in pixels. So I always select pixels so that I have a fairly good idea what size an image is. For example, most web page designs are somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 pixels wide. So I know this is very big. You watch this change as I change this value here. So if I change this to 72 dpi, you'll notice the pixel size has come down as well. Well, now that I've set a DPI of 72 pixels, and by the way, did you notice that the vertical changed as I changed the horizontal? That's because maintain aspect ratio is turned on. Very important to keep our image in proportion. Even though I have 72 by 72, I can change the actual size, width and height. For example, I might want to go 600 pixels wide. 600 pixels wide, automatically it updates the height, but you'll notice that the resolution remains the same. Let's go back to the 450. Think in pixels, it really does help. Finally, anti-alias. Have this turned on. The best way for me to quickly explain it is it helps smooth out the jaggies that are in your image and will give you the best smooth result. So let's click OK. Well, of course, our image is automatically smaller. Before I zoom in, I'm going to go back to Image and rotate, and I'm going to rotate 90 degrees clockwise. And I'm going to come up to View, and I'm going to turn on the display of rulers. Now I'll hit F4 on my keyboard, and that zooms to all objects. And we're going to go ahead now and look at a brand new tool for X6 called the Smart Carver tool, found under Image and Smart Carver. And this tool is just fascinating. Well, let's look at this from a few different perspectives. We're mainly going to work with these 4 buttons, and I'm going to use the Contract the Image Vertically button first. And watch what happens. You'll notice the taxis are not losing their shape and form, but the actual background seems to be getting narrower. Isn't that amazing? It is a really clever tool. I'll click Reset, do the same thing in the horizontal. Can you see the taxis, or as some of you may say cabs, are getting closer and closer together? That's really clever. There's another way of using this where we can actually remove objects automatically from the image. So what I'm going to do is zoom in on this taxi down here, and I'm going to select the removal paintbrush and draw a mask over the cab that I want to remove. Being from Australia, we say taxis, but of course I know many people in other countries do say cabs. Now fortunately, the road is very much a uniform colour, so accuracy is not as important as it may be with a lot of varying colour background. So let's reduce the nib size to 6, just so we can do that mirror a little bit just in front there, and that mirror there as well. And I want to do this cab on the other side. Increase my paintbrush size again. Just make sure you're getting just a little bit of the road as well in your mask. Reduce the size, just so I can get that bit of a mirror there on both sides. And then we'll zoom back out. Now I want you to watch what happens as I click the Contract Image Vertically. Can you see the masked taxis are getting narrower and narrower? Let me undo that. Instead of doing that manually, watch what happens when you click this button, Auto Contract Vertically, to remove. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? It simply removed the cabs for us. Let me undo that again. And I want to show you, you can turn on Hide Mask if you want to, if you're going to do this manually. Reset. Or, as we said before, Auto Contract Vertically. And look at that. Isn't that just absolutely fascinating? Let me undo that one time. And I'm going to do this. I'll hide the mask. I'm going to do the same thing, but this time vertically. Isn't that fantastic? Well, I like it the other way for our project, so quickly, and we'll do it that way. Look at that. Now, notice the little tear you can see in the areas where they were removed. All we have to do is click Background Fusion, and it smudges what we call the assets that were left behind together, and it really does look amazingly seamless, doesn't it? Well, let's click OK.